Welcome back to Coyote Cast. It's been a minute. First year of college. How was it? How are you drawing a blank right now? Like, you literally just have to think about...
I don't even know what to say about college, my friend.
Why?
I don't know.
Did you like it? Was it fun?
It was fun.
Did you make any good friends?
It's such a complex thing. Yes, I made lots of friends.
You know,
That's probably my favorite part of it. It's the new people you meet, new ideas you're exposed to. But it's a different thing, man. Very different from high school. Would you agree?
Well, it's absolutely different from high school, and I try to tell people that, but then they're like, oh, you don't know everything. Like, you've got 1 year of college, and you think you know everything now. It's just like, come on, dude, I'm trying to warn you. Like,
yeah, I think it's like that for everything. Like, everybody trying to retroactively give advice to, like, younger kids, because you never listen when you're younger, but... Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody is so pumped to go to college their senior year. They're like, oh, I want to get out of here.
Yeah.
Well, then you go and you realize that... I mean, it's great, but it sucks at the same time.
Did you have an adjustment period? Was there ever any, like, lull, like, where... Or
well, like, the first whole... Like, my first entire semester, I went in all right, but then stuff started piling on. And
when did it happen? Like, towards the end of first semester?
Oh, yeah.
That's
like,
for sure when it hit me. Like,
finals, like, dead week and finals week, and the week before that was probably the worst. It did the worst to me. I just...
For sure.
Wanted to go home. Didn't really want to come back.
Yeah, I didn't want to come back after winter break either. It was really interesting.
Yeah.
But, like, I definitely had... Like, I enjoyed the spring semester way more than fall semester, though.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you start settling down into new routines and habits. You start getting, like, accustomed to what to do. Like, how best to efficiently handle your work. How to... Like, even, like, lifestyle choices are difficult.
Yeah.
You don't think about, like, your food or...
yeah.
drink or sleeping habits, and like that piles up.
Yeah, I definitely had a lighter load spring semester, but I don't know, it's just I still didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
I never really made like a best friend.
Oh, really?
I had a bunch of like close friends.
Yeah, I lucked out and made like there's a good group of us that always hung out and stuff. Mm-hmm. Go get coffee, talk a lot.
It was kind of like, for me, it was kind of how it was in high school. I had some friends that I usually hung out with, but then I was also friends with people in just random, like, little areas. Like, people that aren't in my department that I don't always hang out with, but, like, it's them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that is, like, it's important to get a diverse group of friends and stuff. Like, it's really easy to surround yourself all with people in the same major that think exactly the same, which is somewhat what my friend group is, but, like, it's really cool meeting other people out that think differently than you, that are in a different major. Like, they're just such a different lifestyle, even.
But, yeah.
So you have one week left of college? I just finished up.
Sort of 1 week. 1 week. Well, like 1 week of finals, but I really only have a few days. So I'm actually probably going to pack my stuff up completely tomorrow. Just live at home and just drive to do whatever I need to do. Then I've got rehearsals, on Thursday. Actually, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I think. Excuse me.
A bucha will get you.
Yeah.
It's a bucha burps right there.
On Saturday, I have rehearsal and I think a concert, but it's a a really relaxed concert.
Okay.
And then Sunday, rehearsal, and then Monday, off to Europe.
Yeah, and so what are you doing there?
I don't really know.
Are you singing?
Well, we're singing, yeah.
You gonna put you in an old cathedral or something, or no?
We're gonna go to Amsterdam for a little bit. I don't know if we sing in Amsterdam, and then we go to Brussels, And then we go to Paris and sing in Notre Dame.
Wow. Some good acoustics in there.
I sure
assume
hope so.
Yeah. So, like, how big of a group are you going with?
There's probably, I think maybe 30 of us are going.
All right.
Maybe less.
So you get freedom to explore your towns while you're over there?
Oh, yeah. That's the
Check
best
out
part.
the famous coffee shops of Amsterdam. But you won't be partaking in any Amsterdam specialties, will you?
I mean, I'm not supposed to do that anymore, but you never know. The pressure might be on. You only live once, sort of. When in Rome.
All right. When in Amsterdam. All right. And then what else you got this summer? Camp counselor?
It's kind of like that. It's AS Appalachia Service Project. I'll be a staff. It's called a summer staffer. Mm-hmm. I'll be in charge. Well, me and three other people, 3 other college students will be in running a center. They call it a center. It's either like a school or church that ASP pretty much rents out sort of for the entire summer, and then different groups like churches from around the country will come in for a week and they'll work on the houses that we chose to work on, and then we'll send them back out and a new group will come in, and pretty much that for 7 to 8 weeks I think it is. So
you've been to that before, right? Not as a...
Yeah, I've volunteered at it before, and there can be a good amount of volunteers from I would say 50 to 100 maybe volunteers a week. 100's a little much, but...
So, I mean, you see a little bit different side of America too working down there, or no? Or who are the people you're working with, or what houses that you're working on?
Well, it's a lot of very poor areas that you don't really know exist until you go there. And there are areas like Kentucky, I think West Virginia, just a little bit of North Carolina, Virginia. It's they're families that kind of stay there. It's interesting. They own these houses. It's not everybody like this, but most of them. Right. It's a family-owned house that's been there for generations and generations, and some are just falling apart and need help a lot. So we send people into I think the motto is warmer, safer, drier. Mm-hmm. I think that is the way to go. I don't know. I hope nobody from ASP is watching this because they're going to be like, huh.
They're going to deny you.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's...
So basically, I mean, you're just helping them out getting
it's
better
all free.
Shelter. And
Put
roofs on, or...
We even build brand new houses for some people. Wow. But those are mainly in areas where hardcore flooding came in and just ruined everything for those families. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, they do a lot. I think, lost my train of thought. But yeah, it's really cool. They help a ton of people, and
do you get to work alongside those people? Do they help you out as you're working, or do they mostly?
Well, I actually am not allowed to do any of the construction work.
Oh, okay.
Because I think it's because it costs too much to insure all of us to work. So we pick the houses, and it's kind of competitive because you can get up to 50 house applications that you have to go through, and you have to check out, is this feasible to do this summer? Can we get this done in the amount of time that we have? So you end up picking probably around 5 houses maybe to work on for the summer, and you just send different groups to the house, and you have to kind of... Sorry, what was the question again?
So like the people that they're getting work done on their house, are they like working alongside the people that you're sending to?
No, yeah. So
like, do they play an active part in the remodeling or building of the house?
The people that live there?
The people that live there, yeah.
No, the point of it is that we are supposed to come in and do it all for them.
Okay.
They don't have to do anything. They don't have to pay for anything. But a lot of times...
Like, do you get to interact with them at all?
Oh, yeah. Like, the staff the staff and the homeowners interact a bunch. You get, like... I haven't got to experience it yet, but there's usually a pretty good bond between the staff and the homeowners. I mean, after each week, there's even a picnic that goes on where the homeowners will come to the picnic and the people that worked on the homes will come to the picnic. Even a volunteer makes this like really strong connection with the homeowners, because part of the reason you do it is to get to know those people, and there'll be some people that it'll be a really nice old lady and she'll just have like hundreds of stories that she'll tell you,
right,
and about the area and whatnot and about her life. And so yeah, they sometimes they do help the volunteers, but it's not something that is required at all.
Right.
But yeah,
So how did you like get into this like service, this idea of service? Or
it was actually what year was it? I think it was summer between my sophomore and my junior year. My choir director, pretty much, I helped with the set building for a musical, and he saw that I liked...
Just one that you performed in?
I think so, yeah.
Or was this before your performing
No,
days?
it was a Cinderella.
Okay.
I was the king.
Oh.
Did
main role.
Well,
the lead.
I had one song and like 3 words, but that's okay. That's how I like it, though. But yeah, I think he just saw that I liked to work on stuff, or like handiwork.
And he recommended this program to you, or?
Yeah, he's like, hey, if you wanted, you can come with us. So I did it, and did it year after and the year after that, and then did a SIP program where you like pretty much are a fake staffer for a week to get to know what it's like, and then applied. And I didn't actually get the job at first. I was an alternate, and which means if somebody drops out, I get the job, and somebody dropped out or something happened. I don't know what it was actually, and I got offered the job, which at first was kind of a mess because I'm going on this trip, and it'll go over 3 days, 21, 22, 23, 3 days into like the summer job, and the first couple weeks are like the most important because that's when you get all your training and you get to know all the other staffers and everything. And so they didn't want me to miss. They were fine. They work out where some people have exams and stuff that they're gonna miss the first day maybe, or the second day, but the third day is when they started their construction training. So they really didn't want me to miss that. So I almost had to buy a ticket home early from my tour, which would have made me miss Paris, which is like the most important part of that trip. And it would have been, I think it was like $3,000 for a one-way ticket home for that. I think that was to the Tri-Cities Airport, which is the closest one to Jonesville, Virginia. So that was like I don't know.
So
if
you got
I could
out
do
of that though?
Yeah, I was able to. She talked to her advisor or whatever, and they were able to let me come in a little late. So once I land in Detroit on May 23rd at 12:20 p.m., I will take a 8-hour drive straight to Jonesville, Virginia. So
awesome.
It'll be an interesting day.
So that's coming up soon. You leave
next Monday. Well,
next
a week from Monday, May 14th.
Okay. And you'll be gone most of the summer.
The entire summer.
Dang. We'll have to take a trip down to Jonesville to do a podcast.
Well, I'll be somewhere else other than Jonesville, but
Okay.
I'll let you know where. And maybe on my weekend off, we can get something figured out.
All right. Maybe we can hike the Appalachian Trail.
just in a weekend.
Yeah. Do a little segment. Okay, we're back. After a short break, we're back here, Coyote Cast. Just got done talking about some of Cody's summer plans. He's got quite a bit planned this summer.
And then right after it, don't know what I'm doing. So we can get to that another day, but
Another day for that one.
yeah, we'll wait a little bit.
That was a right
part.
topic, but we'll see.
This is a very
Yeah, I mean, that's really a crazy thing. Like, even, I don't know, we can, like, even college, like, okay, so you finish high school and you're like, what's the next step? And for most people, you're like, okay, I go to college and learn. And then, you know what I mean? Like, then after that, you're like, then, okay, then what?
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, like, prolonging. Like, eventually, you're going to have to make that decision of, like, what you really want to do with your time and with your life.
Can we get to like tuition of college real fast?
Yeah, let's just talk about the topic of college. Pros and cons and
First con, it costs so much money to go to college.
Well, especially if you go to a private school, right?
Yeah, I made the dumb choice of going to a private university, which, I mean, hey, you get smaller classes, yeah, you get a better connection with your teachers, which I will vouch that. I don't know what it's like to go to another school, but like my classes had 10 or less people in each of them.
Really?
I had a class that at the beginning of the year it was scheduled to have 3 people in it, but then we got like 2 more, I think. And like sometimes you get to the point where you just call your professors by the first name, like. But it's kind of cool. But tuition, outrageous, and they can kind of screw you over a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
It's weird because I'm sure everybody can do it. Every university can do it, but it feels like sometimes they can just pull some rules right out of their ass and just like do whatever they want with you. I don't know.
See, it's really nice because like I'm going to Toledo, and they actually have a thing where they lock your rates in for the entire time you're there. So they can never jack up tuition on me, and like most of my scholarships are set just to automatically renew without too much trouble. So I've had a pretty good experience there.
At ONU, tuition just went up by I think 3%.
Yeah.
So
now I know a lot of schools are raising tuition, which is, I don't know, it's kind of crazy to think about it, but
it's whatever. I mean, get your piece of paper and go find that job.
Right, you know, and it's like how much does it really help your job, your chances of getting a job? Like in certain things, for sure, you absolutely need a degree. You don't. I mean, you need your doctors to have degrees. For the most part, you need your engineers. You don't want to be driving over a bridge. You know, but a lot of things, it seems like you can almost just branch out and do on your own. But it's also hard to contrast because education is it's probably one of the most valuable things you can really invest in. But like, how do you value that education? Is it really worth 30-40 grand a year? You know? It's
let's talk about just education in general fast. Like pedagogy, like how do you? So I had to take a few like education classes, and I would have to continue taking them. But there's one called Culture and Schooling where it talked about all pretty much like brought out racism and sexism and all the little topics that you don't really want to talk about, but it's the class where she brings it up and makes you talk about it, which is kind of good. It was actually really interesting. Brought up some really interesting topics, but we also talked about the structure of schools a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of made me realize that you don't, like, I don't think teachers should really have to get, like, a teaching degree, I guess. You know what I mean? Like,
So how would you, like, how would they be able to prove that they're...
so I think that they should, now, this is probably a really dumb idea, and anybody of importance that watches this, if there is that person, is going to disagree with me. But I think if you get a degree in, I guess, certain topic, and then prove that you can, like, handle a classroom.
So you think that they should just, as long as they have the knowledge, they don't actually need to go and learn then how to, like, teach exactly? If they have the knowledge in it and they can control a classroom, that they should be able to teach on that subject.
Yeah, because, okay, pretty much when you become a teacher, you can almost purchase your entire year of, like, a lesson plan. Like, there's so much stuff out there that you can just buy and say, like, okay, here's a video, watch this. So, like, now I'm not saying, like, do that.
Right.
I'm actually saying not to do that because it's kind of stupid. They don't learn anything. You teach them how to memorize information and then how to spit it back out on a test.
Well, yeah, and I think that's something, too, you can just address overall with the education system. Mm-hmm. Is the point of it that we can go and do well on tests, or is the point of it that we make a well-rounded individual that can think for themselves and that can learn in different situations? I think that would be a better approach to education. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to get to it because you can't eliminate all standards, you know. You definitely have to have tests. You definitely have to show your aptitude in certain things through a test.
Well, see, there's some people out there that don't think that. Like, there's I can't remember what country it's in. I think it's, like, England. Mm-hmm. Or, there's a school where the students show up when they want, do whatever they want the entire day. It's so weird. And then they get, like, they graduate and go do whatever they do. Now, I watched a little video on it, and honestly, I didn't see some of the students as, like, bright as, you know what I mean? It's almost kind of like daycare, where they just kind of did whatever they want, and then if they wanted to learn something, they'd ask about it and kind of discover on their own.
Which I think that is the best way to learn, but you're going to have maybe the top few individuals that are really interested in pushing themselves, asking questions and learning, and then you're going to have people that are just going to take advantage of that system, slack off and just move themselves through it and never really apply themselves, which, I mean, ultimately that probably does more damage to them as well. But if you're trying to develop a system to produce, like, the best, like, as a whole, you know, that's what's so difficult about it, is every person learns in a different way too. So how do you develop, you know, one standardized curriculum across 50 states for millions of students? You know, it's a really difficult task, I would say. Yeah, but I think self-learning is something that anybody can take it up. Anybody can go. We have public libraries. We have the internet. Oh, yeah. Anybody can really teach themselves almost anything at this point. But I think it is important to also get an education through, like, a school or through a university as well.
University is pretty useful. Or universities are pretty useful. Like, they, like, the resource-wise, like, you can get access to a lot of things, but I don't know.
Well, and I think that was kind of the original idea of a university, is this is a place where intelligent people can gather as a collective and kind of bounce ideas off each other, and can build up libraries of knowledge and stuff.
Knowledge.
No, but
right next to my, what does he have? Lamborghini.
Shouting out Ty Lopez. Yeah, but I think where education can get lost, especially at the university level, is when they're not in contact with, like, the real world, you know? Like, where they're not, like, actually going and they're not doing business. They're not with people that aren't in the university. I think that's where you can get into some trouble because you end up just kind of in your head with so many ideas and you end up very idealistic and you're not if you're in the real world and you're like trying to solve something, you're going to mess up. Like you're going to fail so many times and you can't just create something out of it, you know? Like you actually fail and then you learn from that and you have to change. It's not just going to happen. You can't just make up a pretty ideal, a pretty story for it.
There's just one guy we learned about. I don't remember his first name. It's like I think it was like Paulo or something like that. But his last name was Frary, I think.
Okay.
But he had this idea of, I'm pretty sure he came up with it. It's called problem posing, where you take a school and you take an issue within that like district or that city that the school is in, and you use that to teach all your core like curriculum. Like, so say like in Finley we have this flooding issue, right? So we're trying to figure out what to do with it. Did we ever figure out what we're gonna do with that? I can't remember.
I mean,
did they come up with something, a final
they've
decision?
cleaned some stuff out, but no, they haven't.
Okay, well, so
decision.
yeah. So
but it hasn't flooded as badly recently,
So put that problem into Finley High School. Okay, now, or even the multiple middle school and elementaries and all that, and have the students like learn about that topic, kind of sort of thing.
Right, because
so, like,
you can take the physics of it, the fluid dynamics rolling down there. You can take it from, you know, a biology standpoint of the ecosystems around it and how if you go and tear stuff up, you're going to damage certain ecosystems.
Like the math part of it, and you can get like, I'm sure there's some sort of calculus in there or algebra or something with different solutions, and then you get your like writing. You can write to like council people and the people that, you know what I mean, like different practice writing different letters and learn about different. So pretty much using that topic to work in a productive way on something rather than saying this is how this problem works. Memorize how it's done. I'm going to give you different issues on this test. You know what I mean? Yeah,
and for myself personally, I struggle like to learn something if I don't feel that there is an application for me to use it really. Like some things get so abstract that you're like, well, I'm never really going to it's very difficult to use this in a practical way. And you get kind of caught in that. And it's just, you don't know if there's really any meaning to it or if there's any practicality to it. And like, the reason I love, I like to work with my hands some too. Like in the summer, I love roofing. But you see what you've done in a day's time. Like you see actual physical progress and physical work instead of just arbitrary like maybe knowledge retaining in your brain.
If you ever come across this problem, you know what to do now.
Right.
But
so yeah, I think that would be a good method. It would. I mean, yeah, it would take more.
It's kind of more.
It would
like
take more
there,
planning and more. You'd have to constantly be changing. It'd be very dynamic. You have to constantly be changing your curriculum to address new problems. But even the impact that would have on the community, because I'm sure people would solve the problems.
Exactly. Like, if you put all these schools to work, I'm sure they're going to figure it out eventually. I mean, if a company can sit down and do it within a month, imagine what kind of things can get like worked out over
because you have so many perspectives. 1,000 students working on something, and even you could incentivize it too, and that can be a way you fund certain programs in your school if you really truly come up with a. I mean, because how much did the Army Corps or whatever get paid just to work on that flooding problem in Finley? If you really applied that to your students and gave them the same funding to look into that would be a really interesting thing. Yeah,
so. But yeah, I mean, going to college made me realize that there's so much more. It didn't really pertain to me that much, but like, there's so much more to teaching little kids. That's where it all starts, because like kids absorb so much more information than we ever expect. Like, just the way you act towards someone. If a teacher didn't like a comment that came out of a student's mouth, and they kind of brushed him off, like shunned him a little bit for a second, all the other students catch on to that and then treat that student the same way. You know what I mean? Or it doesn't always happen, but
even it's imprinted in that student's mind too. I mean, there's so many formative experiences in your childhood that are probably locked somewhere away in your head that take years of whatever method, if you're going to do psychotherapy or different practices to get rid of it.
For sure.
Because even, I mean, you can feel it too. Like sometimes you really want to say something and you choke, right? It's like a physical reaction too, where you're afraid of it. And there's probably a likelihood that something happened in your childhood. You know, you answered a question wrong and I feel that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You feel the embarrassment of your whole class come down on you. Oh, it's devastating. But
it's just some weird stuff that, but
because we're kind of the sum of all of our experiences and where we've been brought up and stuff too. We got deep there quick,
but yeah, so I don't know, it's just makes you think about it.
And if you can try to keep that logic like just a little bit in the back of your head, it changes how you treat other people as well, because you don't really think like, how did they grow up? What shapes them? Why are they being an asshole to me right now? You know, like maybe they didn't eat this morning. Maybe they were treated poorly as a child or something. And so
it could be little or big. It's
really difficult to take a second to reflect on that in the moment. Cause like I can be an angry person. I can be you know, even if I didn't eat this morning, maybe so many different things going into it. I just failed a test. I didn't eat. I'm angry, and how to keep yourself from snapping on someone. But maybe they're going through the same thing, you know. So if you could take a second to step back and try to drink a kombucha, relax yourself. That's all you gotta do.
Oh,
breathe.
Classic.
All right, I'm Clay Lenhart.
Cody.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for enjoying this experience with us. And we hope you listen to us in the future.
Absolutely.
Thank you.